Hey, not a whole lot. I'm doing good. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind. My computer's throwing a fit. So,
No
but I'm here.
worries. I think it's time for a software update usually. I was just telling everybody a little bit of what we're going to cover today and how you've been instrumental to me, and I didn't get to go into everything. A lot of people have been coming onto our lives since well, I don't even remember when we started doing this. Um, I
It's
don't know
been
how
two
many
or three
weeks we've
months
been
at
at
least,
this,
or has
but
it been a lot longer? I don't know.
it feels like it's been pretty long. All I know is we keep getting messages from people. Hi, everybody. That they're having success, just copying off of the roadmap that we've given just from YouTube, which is really cool. I know
Love
we
it.
had Faisal on here 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, where he said he had 1 month where he netted or he grossed $323,000 just by going after the niche list that we talk about. So, with everybody on here, all I can say is if you guys get super, super niche and you focus on one strategy and just really master that, you can expand, grow, make life changing money that can get you out of your W 2, that can get you to where you want to be. So, we're going to talk about that a little bit more and we're going to bring some people up. We're actually going to throw a link in the side chat for you guys. If you are on YouTube, it'll only be available to people on YouTube, but you'll be able to jump up here and do some questions with us. We've done role plays on here. Actually, Michael, I have a few people calling some leads for me now. And I know you just dropped a new video yesterday where you went door knocking, which was
Yeah.
really good. I shared it with a few people on Instagram. They're like, you must have Michael's notifications turned on when he drops stuff. That video just dropped.
Mhm.
Like, heck yeah, I do. So that was really great to see. If you guys are not on Michael's YouTube, make sure I'll drop the link for that as well. But get over to Michael Frankie's YouTube. Tons of value on there. I'll share the screen to that in a little bit. He has cold calls where he's called leads directly, getting that data for free. We've talked about that on a bunch of videos. TruePeopleSearch.com is one of the references that we use for free data. And what the conversations look like. So before we get a little deeper into this, Michael, I'm just curious because I know I've got a lot of people on Instagram Live and on YouTube here. How often would you get rejected or your team get rejected in a day doing outreach to we'll just go after pre-foreclosures as our list right now, people that are in pre-foreclosure.
I mean, you're going to get rejected pretty often. That first one in that YouTube video was a little bit more of an extreme example. They got hit up a lot apparently, and she shut me down. I couldn't even get a word in. That's not real common. Most times people are pretty polite and they'll just say, I have it taken care of, and close the door or hang up the phone. Most of the time it's not ugly, but yeah, you're going to have people that are really rude and the people that are really mean. And in that YouTube video, I make it clear that that's not going to set me back mentally on going to the next house. It's just those aren't my people. Those aren't my clients. Who cares? And I made the point in the video that I didn't die when they said no. It's okay. So in that video, I go knock a few more doors, and if I had given up on that first one, I wouldn't have set the appointment that I set a few doors later. So you just got to have some perseverance, and no is a part of it.
I love that. Um, I wanted to say that because I shared your videos and I watch them because every once in a while it's not guys it's not fun being rejected, but it's part of the game. It's part of the business, and you really have to understand there's a ton of rejection that's going to come into this. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If you can handle the rejection and you can push through and you can persevere, you're going to have some. First and foremost, your bank account's going to change. Secondly, you're going to help somebody that's going through a really tough period of time in their life, and you're going to help them get some equity, get some money to get a little fresh start, and have an opportunity to rebuild, which is really cool. But the emotional income you get is incredible. And Michael, I've seen just your business's Google reviews. Holy smokes, the Google reviews that you have from the clients and the homeowners that you've helped going through probably some of the most strenuating, is that the right word? Exhausting experiences that are really tough for them has been mind changing. It's mind blowing. I actually was texting a homeowner, a wholesaler reached out to me here in Phoenix. They're like, hey, I have somebody who has an auction tomorrow. This was last night on Valentine's Day for everybody. I was actually out on a date for my Valentine. I was like, I can only text a little bit during dinner. But I found out the homeowner had an auction for today. They only spoke Spanish, found out the wife did speak English, and they did not have the mortgage caught up. And this was from a guy, a wholesaler, who pulled the list yesterday. He pulled tax delinquent and code enforcement, called that list, got a bunch of notes, finally found somebody who did not know they had an auction going on, And they're like, we have to sell. We have to do something. Got to speak to the wife. I was texting. I messaged them, got on a phone call after dinner. I was talking to the wife up until 10 p.m. last night. We were texting, game plan. She did get her 401k emergency fund. So I'm giving you guys a tidbit here. Going for the loan reinstatement. That's the first option that Michael and I like to present, okay, when we're talking to these homeowners. Try to get that in place. Got her 401k to approve emergency funds to catch up the back payments. And today I was like, well, we need to call your bank first thing in the morning. Her bank was over on Eastern time. Actually, I need to double check and see how everything went because I was in a court hearing for something else when this all went down. She texted me at 6 a.m. and I said, I'll help you out at 7 a.m. I thought the bank opened up at 7 our time. I guess they opened up at 6 o'clock our time. Got approval. They passed through everything. Her auction was postponed at 6 a.m. by the bank's words from what the homeowner told me. And they called the courthouse today at 9 a.m. to stop the auction, which was supposed to happen at 10. So I say all of that to say this. I have people calling some of the leads right now. I've called the leads. I've door knocked the leads on the first day of notice. Not a lot of people are ready to do things. The auction being less than 12 hours last night, the homeowner's like, oh my gosh, I need to make a decision. I've got to do something. And I know we've talked about this a lot on here. And I know we got a lot of new people on this episode today. What percentage of contracts would you say you get signed, Michael, in the last 15 days before an auction is going to happen?
I always explain it that when you have a notice of default or an appointment, you have a subset of people that want to take action immediately. The more responsible types that have just had something happen in their life, and they had a setback, but they want to solve it. So you will have right at the beginning, people want to take action. Then you have pretty much nothing until the last couple weeks when people have exhausted all of their other resources, or they just kind of get around to handling it. And then you'll have people in that last couple weeks take action. So a large percentage of the houses I get under contract are, the last 10 days or so. And on average, about 5 business days before the sale.
It's insane. What I want to know as well then, for everybody else that's on here, because we have right around 80 people watching, for those of you that are in here and you're on Instagram Live, you're on YouTube, how are you right now getting your leads? And then my next question for you is, what does your system look like to follow up? And this is going to lead into my next question for Michael. And if you've been on here before, you already know the answer. But Michael, would you say with your how much follow-up goes into one lead to typically get a property under contract and to stop the auction or to potentially purchase the property?
I mean, a lot. I mean, guys, it takes, normally 5 to 7 follow-ups to get a deal. Sometimes a lot more. I mean, we've told the story where I followed up with someone 115 times or whatever to get a deal. But these deals require persistence. Making money is not easy. It's just not going to fall out of the sky into your lap. You're going to have to really follow up with these people, be diligent. And sometimes they'll say no. And it doesn't really matter down the road. Like the person in that video that basically screamed at me and told me to get it. I've had people like that before that I bought their house. It's so funny down the line when they don't even remember who I am. And it's like, hey, do you remember that one time, like after we have it all solved and about their house, you remember that one time when I came over to your house and you yelled at me? And they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So they're just not at that point yet. And that's why you just got to keep following up, fortunes in the follow-up. So
fortunes in the follow-up. That's the word. That's the nugget for the day. So for everybody, before we bring up our special guest, I just want to show you this because we talked about it at the beginning of this episode. This is Michael's YouTube. I want to make sure you guys see it because I am subscribed and I have all of the notifications turned on. So if you find him right here, Michael D. Frankie, I'm going to unsubscribe just so you guys can see how to do this the right way so you get notified. When you click subscribe, you get a nice little instant gratification thing here. Click this drop-down menu button and click all. So anytime Michael uploads a video, I get notified on it. Clicking on his stuff right here. This video was uploaded yesterday. Great video for everybody to watch. I love that you pay for somebody to come in and add subtitles. The subtitles for my ADD brain make it much better. Guys, this is great. Go and watch his content. He records everything. He talks about the process. I think one of my favorite parts in this video is when he ran into the door and he kept all of the hiccups.
That actually hurt quite a bit. I played it off.
But they're really cool. But you walk up to a vacant house. You gave a really good tip of you saw a sign from the utilities company saying that it's vacant, the utilities are shut off. Those are more pain points that you guys definitely want to get when you're paying attention. And you can really try and find that homeowner, because if they're not paying their utilities, they're not on the property. I mean, I'm guessing you filmed that maybe last week or the week before. Have you gotten a hold of that homeowner that had the vacant house with the utilities turned off?
So it's interesting. That house has been in foreclosure multiple times. First time I got a hold of the seller. She was going to use a realtor to sell it off market to an investor. And I called the realtor. The realtor said, yeah, I already sold it to an investor. This was day one appointment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was frustrated. And then I kind of followed up a few times and never saw it change ownership. So then I saw it came into foreclosure again, immediately went over there and called that agent again. The agent said she was going to get back a hold of the seller. But that seller's phone's disconnected right now. So I'm trying to relocate her. I don't know. I know she was having some health issues, so I don't know. Maybe she's in assisted living somewhere. It's hard to say. But the realtor said that she just wanted to let it go back to the bank, which is crazy because she has $200,000 in equity. So and that YouTube video, I get a little frustrated with that agent, but try to make friends. But no, we're actively trying to find that one still.
Wow, I really liked it. I actually took a note. Let me see if I can.
Right, I understand. I'm just here to help. I'm not here to argue. I want to be.
Actually, this is the part right here. I watched this video and I wrote this line down that you just said. I'm not here to argue. At the end of this, I want you guys to pay attention to this part.
Your teammate.
I'm just here to help. I'm not here to argue. I want you to think of me as a teammate. I can't believe I unmuted at the perfect time there. I wrote that down. That's a line that I'm going to use because I was talking to another homeowner earlier this week that had an auction this week. Could not get her to come to Planet Earth. And she's like, no, we're going to keep the house. They're about $30,000 behind on their mortgage. I went through everything. Well, where are you guys going to come up with the money? Well, I don't know. Do you have any family or friends that can help you? No. Can you sell anything? No. Do you have any 401k or emergency funds? No. How did it go when you reached out to the bank? What did they say? They're not going to help us. All of these things. And she felt like I was getting combative with her. And I was like, listen, I don't want to buy your house. I want to make sure you have all these options, but I don't want you guys to end up on the streets. And she's like, no, my kids were born in this house. We're going to stay here. And sometimes it's tough. And I gave her a third party story because when there's kids involved, I get emotional about it. It's really, really hard to have that, but I like that line. And I watched this after I had that conversation. So that's going to be one of my lines now. Hey, not your enemy. I want to be your teammate and be on the same side.
Well, you can do that with anyone that's involved. It can be a seller. It can be an agent. It can be anyone. A lot of times these sellers will get mad at you because you're the target right in front of them at that moment. You can be like, look, I understand you're upset. But at the end of the day, I'm not your enemy. The lender is. So if you can find a common enemy, all of a sudden they might think of you a little bit differently. So
100%
agree. Sandler thing, I'm sure.
It is common enemy. I would also just say this. If you guys are watching this right now and you're finding any value, take notes, write things down that are sticking out to you, go through those videos, take what works for you, because Michael is we're giving away a lot of information on here, but I like that you have yours all cut up and nice and neat. Go steal what you can, take it and use it when you guys are doing some outreach here. We really want you guys to get your first deals. And with that being said, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up our two special guests so they can talk about how they got their second deal done following our roadmap. I saw that, where did it go? There was a comment over here from Robert. I think he said, what? Oh, John right here. John just said, what is this roadmap you're both referring to? And you got to pay attention to what we're saying in these, because we kind of repeat ourselves quite a bit every week because we have new people jumping in that are looking to get started and they really want to make a difference. But what I want to say here, and this is why, and I know you hear me say it all the time, Michael, but this is why Michael resonated with me. I like the message and I like the mission of his company. And I want to align myself with more people that are doing good in their community. Michael's purpose is to, actually, Michael, why don't I have you explain your mission statement? I can tell everybody why I wanted to copy off of you and get into helping homeowners that are going through pretty tough times.
At the end of the day, people see investors in a certain light. They see us as low ballers or greasy car salesmen. And what I'm hoping to do with Niche is really teach people a certain morality and a certain way of treating people to where, yeah, we're real estate investors. There's no doubt we're trying to make money. But at the end of the transaction, you want people to say, yep, they wanted to make money, but those are really good people. They took care of me. And that's my goal in real estate investing is, of course, to make a lot of money, teach a lot of other people to make a lot of money, but hopefully over time, change that perception from investors are gross to investors, yeah, they want to make money, but they're pretty good people. So that's kind of the mission right now. And it's just going to take a lot of us doing the right thing consistently over and over to where over time it gets through the grapevine that investors have changed and we're really a different breed than we used to be.
I love that. And the purpose is to serve first. And I like that you really, if you look at the previous videos we've done, I'll throw a link in the description below so you guys can see the ones where we've talked about the 5 steps of stopping an auction. It's always helping the homeowner try and keep the home if it's possible and pushing them that way. We want to be the last option. If nothing else works, we will buy it and we'll help you rebuild your credit. We'll do what we can. I know Michael has so many resources he gives to homeowners, and one of them being connecting them with somebody who's going to help them rebuild their credit so they can get home ownership again. Sometimes people just fall on bad luck for a little bit. So that's what really resonated with me. And one thing I was just wanting to share, I saw Nisha just said this in the side chat. Yep, I was the seller and partnered with an investor here, but really he did innovation with me. So they were able to partner with the investor, get the house fixed up, sell it, and then both make a profit on it, which is super cool. All right, guys. Well, what we're going to go ahead. You have something else you want to say?
Oh, John was mentioning that roadmap. My team is working on some graphics for stuff like that can really paint the roadmap clear. So keep your eyes open for those here coming up.
There we go. We'll talk about the roadmap a little bit here when I bring up Kaylee and Monica. So Kaylee and Monica have been paying attention coming into our Zooms that we do, the YouTube lives that we've done. And I know back in August, really, is that when you guys got your first property under contract?
No, we got our first under contract October. I think. Yeah,
it was October.
But it
okay,
didn't
great.
Actually close, so we don't count that.
Yeah, we ended up having to let that deal go.
Okay, so when did you first start coming onto Zooms with me or a YouTube with me where I kind of gave you guys a little idea of what you should be doing?
Well, I think we were in executive, so we started sub 2 in July. So we started going on your calls in July, and I think that's probably the main reason why we ended up door knocking, because we never expected to do that, but we also had no money. So we were like, all right, that's what you do then, is you go door knock, I guess, if you don't have like resources. So we started knocking in July, and then like I feel like through your stuff with Michael Frankie, we started following him too, and like getting on anything that we could with both of you.
Yeah,
I love it. So how many deals had you guys wholesaled before October?
Before October together, we had never done any. I used to work at New Western, so like I used to dispo properties through there.
Mm-hmm.
Once I left, I did like 2 deals where I basically was like a connector on the contract, where I was very upfront, like, here's my like 2,500, it just goes on the like HUD basically. So I did 2 of those, and then in July, like we hadn't done any from July until
December.
Our first closing was December. Yeah.
Okay, so I know we're going to condense it, but can you give a rough explanation? So the reason I started talking about the door knocking in July was because if you guys don't know, I also have a podcast with Ingrid Hernandez. I see she's in here, and she just said, Monica, I love her. I know that I met you guys in Tampa for the first time in person a few weeks ago, and you told me how Ingrid's a closer and got you guys to ride the crazy roller coaster. Just so you know, Ingrid, they jumped out of a plane. We convinced them to jump out of a plane.
It's all because of Ingrid.
But I started talking about this because we got Michael Frankie to come on our podcast. And I was like, dude, he's doing a lot of deals. This guy's a multimillionaire. I want to be around people like Michael. I want to be able to help more homeowners. I want to feel good about myself with that emotional income. And within 2 weeks of me pulling data, copying off of what Michael has said, I got a house under contract. I remember texting Michael. I was like, Michael, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet with this lady. What do I do now? I was like, how do I walk through this contract? What do I say? It was so overwhelming. And because I had success, I was like, guys, it works. What he says works. And then I started telling everybody else about this. So from copying off of Michael, I was like, all right, guys, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you what's working for me. I'm going to tell you what I'm not doing. And I want you to copy off of it. So in July, when you guys started coming into those exec Zooms, what I'll let you guys give it in your own words. What was the roadmap that I told you guys to copy off of?
Lead with value
Always.
was like the first thing.
Always
And
lead with value.
yeah, so that's like where we started. We were like, okay, I watched a decent amount of sub 2 vault stuff, and then Greg Clark in one of the vaults, he was like, the reason why I'm doing stuff and you're not is because I'm out there and you're not. And so I was like, all right, Monica, we got to pull the data and we got to get knocking today. It doesn't matter. Like, we have a community that's going to back us up when we have a question. And so that was our thing, is like, we just started helping people. And in Florida, like, it's judicial, so we aren't going there with an auction date. We're going there with a Liz Pendants filing, and a lot of them know that they have time. And so, like, if you go to our Google Business right now, we have 6 reviews, and all of them are people that we've helped stay in their house and not anybody that we've actually like sold their property. But that was our thing for a long time, was helping people for free. But knowing that sooner or later, like, the karma was going to come back around, and like, we were planting all of our seeds. Like you said, you're like, plant seeds in the fall for harvest in the spring.
I love it. Yeah, that's a really good point. So I want to give a little more idea for John, because he asked what that roadmap was. I'm going to give you guys a quick condensed version of it. The roadmap that I told you guys to journal every day, to use a planner. I know you guys you didn't love my planner.
We use a different planner. We used it though.
That's okay. They still use a planner. And this is something I know that Michael Frankie does this all the time as well. He every morning, if you guys follow Michael Frankie on Instagram, you'll see you have time with your Bible, Michael, and you post one of your lessons. I love reading every morning. Like, what's Michael posting? How is this going to resonate with me? So I would say for everybody on your first part of your roadmap, write down your goals every morning. Write down your goals in a journal and a planner, and have that deadline of what you're going to do. Every week, my goal is to stop at least one auction. Minimum one auction is my goal. Every night before bed, have a legal pad next to your bedside table. Write down your goals again, because there's times where you're like, man, I should stay up and doom scroll on Instagram. I should doom scroll on TikTok. I don't want to do this. Remember those things. You're like, okay, I got to shut my brain off. I need to get a good night's rest so I can wake up and I can go after my goals. Then you need to pull your data every day. We've talked about it on a bunch of these videos. You can get that data for free directly from your county, from the county recorders. There's different, I think we went over it again last week, where you can pull from auction.com, and you just get that data and you go to truepeoplesearch.com. You guys can watch this recording back again, truepeoplesearch.com, free data. Again, if you go to Michael Frankie's YouTube, you can see where he just cold called people from the data from True People Search. The one thing I want to tell everybody on here, is it 100% accurate? Anything that is free is never 100% accurate, but it's pretty good. This is the difference that between me, Michael, and Kaylee and Monica, we are door knocking. So if we have bad data, we're still going to the home of a person that's going through a really stressful time, that's in pre-foreclosure with an auction, and we're having a conversation with them. Again, I just showed you this. I'll share it one more time so you guys can see. This is the one you need to watch. Right over here, it says, pre-foreclosure appointment set in 4 knocks. He knocked 4 houses and got an appointment set. You guys need to remember, it's just going out and doing the work. If you do the hard stuff, you will win from this. So getting those out, having a KPI in which you can measure against. And we've done, guys, I'm going to tell you a secret really quickly. The reason why I asked Michael to come on here is because I want to know all the secrets for myself too. When we're on here, every time somebody's asking Michael a question, I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I'm going to use that for my own business. Okay. I'm taking the notes in here too. So I would say your team shoots. Let's go quickly again. I have it in one of my notes. How many calls does your team try and hit in a day, Michael? One of your acquisition reps.
So they try to hit 75 doors a week, 15 a day. They try to, after they come back from door knocking, which generally takes 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on how far they are apart. Then their goal is to make 50 calls. Those calls could be just directly down a list. It could be a little bit more targeted based on what they found in door knocking. Then their goal is to have 5 appointments a week. Does that have to be in person? No. Could it be just a really nice conversation with a seller to where you're trying to go through all their options, provide value? Yeah, that would count as a appointment. And then at the bottom of the funnel, you're hoping to get 2 signed contracts a week.
All right. Look, I already have this written down, but I'm doing it again so it gets in my head. Signed contracts. Okay. So I told Kaylee and Monica to pull the data. I told you guys where to pull the data. We went through it. We even went how to call the county recorder's office and ask. This is just a tidbit of information for everybody. even though you can spend an hour going through the county recorder's website to find the data, you can spend 3 minutes calling them and playing dumb and being very nice and saying, help me out. I literally have done it for like California's tough. Guys, if you're in California, you probably have to go to the courthouse and use their computers because they have privacy laws. Every other state, you can typically call and say, oh my gosh, Michael, thank you so much for taking my call. I know you're busy. My name's Caroline. I'm just wondering, where can I find the list of houses that are going to go to auction this week? And they're going to say, oh, well, we have the information over here. Could you walk me through it? I'm just not tech savvy. Even though I know how to use a computer, I get to the point of the data much quicker. I don't have to waste my time. So that's a little nugget for you guys to use that. So you guys pulled the data. You were being consistent and you were hitting enough doors because I gave you guys a challenge. And I'll still hold this challenge steady for everybody. I told you if you hit your KPIs, you journaled every day, and you did not get something under contract in 100 days, I was going to invite you to come out and hang out with me in Phoenix. And we'd go door knocking and I'd show you how I did everything. How long did it take you guys from following what I said in July to getting something under contract?
I mean, I think it took like the contract that actually closed, it took us like 4 months, but like that's something that like we are definitely trying to like explain to other people, trying to do it in Florida, that like that happened and then it was like it started rolling. Like we have like since then we've closed 3 deals. We have another one under contract right now. So that's all happened in the last couple of months. So we got 2 under contract in January and 1 for February, and then we have a lot of other random ones that we're working on. So
yeah,
in that,
And it
I think that was
requires-
hard for us is because we kept coming onto your guys' stuff and we're like,
what are we doing wrong?
we
Like,
kept
we're
feeling
doing
like,
all the things.
yeah, we're like, we're leading with value. We're like, we're trying to be helpful. We're knocking all the doors. Like we kept coming to you guys and being like, can you workshop it with us? And you would go through and we're like,
We did all that.
like, what are we doing wrong? And it was like, I feel like it really just is being in a judicial state and being patient. That's like that final key for us, at least.
A lot of it is proof of concept in your mind. I can tell you guys are confident just being up here, and like even your name underneath there, the Girls Saving Homes. Like you believe that you can do it now. And when you don't have that proof of concept on the first one, you don't have that internal belief. There's something nagging inside of you that's like, this doesn't work. It might work for them, but it doesn't work for us. But then once you have one hit, then the floodgates open a little bit. And that's kind of what you guys are experiencing. But yeah, judicial is harder. So you should come hang out in a non-judicial state sometime and see how much
we're
We
happy
tried.
to.
We tried going to Georgia. We need to try it again.
Yeah.
But we drove to Georgia one day to do it, door knocking there, and it was different. They're different there.
Yeah.
They were like,
hella aggressive.
they were like shoving the pieces of paper like through the door. They're like, if you can't get it all the way through the door, don't leave it. And we're like, we don't do that.
They're like wiggling the door to make sure they can get it in, and I was like,
I'm uncomfortable.
this isn't for me. But
So-
I do think that you're right. That is one of the things that we want to do, is be able to take our style of door knocking, which, you know, we've garnered a lot from you guys, and take it to different states and see how successful we can be.
Mhm.
Love it.
What I really liked and what you guys said earlier, and this is for everybody, it's planting the seeds in the spring. You have to protect the seeds through the summer so they can grow and you can harvest them in the fall. You guys did a lot of seed planting. So just for anybody who doesn't know, there's judicial and non-judicial. Non-judicial states where Michael and I are, okay? That means you have a deed of trust. When you purchase your house, you sign this deed of trust. If I do not follow the rules of our loan agreement, I'm going to lose the house in 90 days. I pre-signed this and you were able to auction my house off. In the judicial states, where Kaylee and Monica are in Florida, they do not sign that deed of trust. You have to go through the courts and it can take forever. And I think I shared it on here a while ago. There was one guy in St. Pete. You guys are in the Hillsborough area, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County area. Right? That's where you are?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're Pinellas County, which St. Pete is.
Yeah. So a guy had a house in St. Pete. He'd been following up since 2009 because he knew how to work the courts. And COVID happened and it just exploded in value. And the judge was finally like, dude, I'm not letting you postpone this auction anymore. You've got to make a decision. But because he'd done the follow-up since 2009, guys, it's 2024. He made $260,000 off of that deal. Yeah, he wholesaled that deal.
Wow.
And he negotiated wholesaling the deal to an end buyer. And he got to use his wife as the realtor to list the house. So can you guys, like, what a crazy way to do it, but it takes a lot of follow-up and you have to be persistent. And I remember when you guys came on one time to our YouTube here and you're like, dude, we're doing all the work. We just can't get anything locked up. We're helping all these people stop auctions. And I could just see it in Michael's face. He's like, man, this is great that you're helping, but we still need to get you paid. So he really wanted to walk you guys through it. And it was get more lists of motivation as well. So I think you guys have added in a few other pain points that you're contacting.
Yeah, we actually, I mean, we're still doing pre-foreclosure. I feel like what we added in was we did the open dispo for texting. And so that's been super helpful. Like we've started getting some appointments from that, just from like the text messages going out immediately. Cause we're really bad at calling, and we actually realized that like it's not even worth our time to call right now, because people in pre-foreclosure in this area are so bombarded by callers and everything that they don't even pick up their phone. But when you're texting them every day for every once in a while for a couple of weeks, they finally respond, because they're like, okay, what do you have to say? Because all of our text messages are like, we provide value, we can help you stay in your house. And so they're like, all right, what do you got? What do you got for me? So
And
that's helped a lot.
Working.
I love that. Also, guys, I'm a nosy person. If you ever call me and I don't have you saved in my phone, you're not getting a response. But if you text me,
Great.
what'd you say?
Their mailboxes are all full, or their phones are disconnected, or not even on, and do not disturb. So, we've definitely found that texting has been
game
key.
changer.
Yeah.
If you think about the barrier to entry of these deals, the easiest way to do it is cold calling or texting. And the people that message me and say that they're struggling, the common theme is all they're doing is calling. And they don't understand why they're not getting a hold of everyone, because that's what everyone is doing. You're not standing out at all. You may get one every now and then when you get lucky, but you've got to stand out. And you've got to do that through, texting. You could do that through a quick video message. You could do that through email. You could do that through a door knock, Facebook message. You got to be somewhere where someone else isn't. And everyone is cold calling.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
Where are you guys right now?
In St. Pete.
What are you doing in a car? Why are you in your car?
We had to go to a house that we have under contract because there's 6 heirs. We've been working on this since August.
Mm-hmm.
We finally got it under contract this week, and they had to go through probate. And you have to get like the social security number and ID for every single person for title. And we didn't think that through, and we got it under contract. And one of the heirs that lives at the property doesn't have a cell phone.
Or apparently a current ID. It's his
ID he gave us is from 2002. So I sent that to title, and I said, that's what I got.
That's what we got. That's what we're working with.
He's real.
It wouldn't be the first
so
time
we
that
had
I've
to pick
taken
it up.
people to a license bureau to get an ID so that they could close.
Oh yeah,
my
that's what we
house.
told them. We're like, do we have to? We will.
So we know that actually, like, if you don't have an ID, because one of the other heirs just doesn't have an ID, you can have 2 other people with you at signing that say that, like,
You
the
are who you
affidavit
say you are.
saying that you're a real person, and so that's what we have to do
Interesting.
for another heir.
Yeah.
So
This family has been quite the story.
But how much are you learning through this deal? You're learning a lot. You're going to get paid on the deal, and you're learning a lot of finer points
learning
about what
so
you have to do
much.
next time. Next time, you would know that you need that information, so you'd get it up front, and it would just be a lot smoother. So a lot of learning going on.
Even on the probate process, we originally had it going through a different attorney that was going to set up a personal representative, and it was going to take a year and da-da-da-da-da. And then as we've been learning and telling people the story about how long this has taken, someone was like, you could just do a summary where they just include just the house. And we're like, what? So we switched probate attorneys, and now that's what we're doing. So
yeah, because they were also fighting about like who the personal representative was going to be. We spent months and months going through this because they wanted to sell in August. Like the first time they respond to us, they're like, we're ready to sell, make it happen. But there's 6 heirs, and so it's been like all these family dynamics, and now it's like get a contract signed, give me the title commitment, and the probate attorney is going to do the rest.
yeah.
That's incredible. I had to take a homeowner to Vital Records because he didn't know when his father had passed away, and same thing. Take him to go get an ID. Had to do all kinds of stuff. So I'm curious, how much have you learned from door knocking and doing this stuff than you did compared to like learning and watching the videos in a Zoom vault?
I would say maybe like 50-50.
I was just going to say the
Really?
same. Like, for sure, I feel like we learned so much more out in the field.
Like,
We've
actually
learned
doing
so
it.
much from like doing the videos. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you definitely like
It's
you
a good
change
starting
everything.
point, but everything changes from being out here.
Yeah.
Because like we just spoke about how you guys are in a completely different state. So the way that you guys do things is not even remotely the way that we can do things. You know, like that urgency isn't there. There isn't the like we don't get to save people from auction. That's not what we're doing. We're able to save them from the pre-foreclosure process. But
Yeah.
most people who are at auction are a year to
15 years.
15 years into
Yeah.
it. So it's not like this like hooray often. It's a slower process, and we do get a lot of praise and thanks for it because we did help them on some very simple subjects that people just don't know they can advocate for themselves on. And so that positivity is still there, which is why we kept going for 6 months. But it's not the same type of situation where they really do need you to save them from losing their home. And it's just a longer investment, and that's been a learning curve for sure.
So I have another question for you. Compared to where you guys are now to when so you really got going around August. Let's just say February, Kaylee and Monica, what would you say to October, Kaylee and Monica that have been doing it for a while? And you're like, oh my gosh, like when will I get something done and when will I get paid? What would you say to yourself?
You're right. Believe that you're right. We really did believe this is going to work. Like,
Yeah.
Everyone was telling us like, so do you think you should change what you're doing? Maybe you should do agent outreach. Maybe you should do blah, blah, blah. Like, you've got to figure, you guys haven't made any money. Like, maybe you got to change it. And we just kept being like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
People
we
will be like,
believe.
people are like, why aren't you doing agent outreach? Like, you can just like add it in. And I'm like, do you have any idea how much time it takes us for me to pull the list, get it all like cleaned up,
Skip trace
it in the MapQuest, all that stuff.
driving for hours and hours.
Yeah, hitting
following
100
up.
doors a week. Like, I was like, I don't have any more time to call agents and also like not pull my hair out. And people like they hear your story and they don't do it themselves, so they try to give you advice. And so like I feel like all I needed to know was like you're on the right path.
Keep
like
going.
like don't like put your blinders on and don't look at anything else, because even now like
Don't quit.
pre-foreclosures are like our thing. Like it's what we love doing. That pain is something that we're able to like provide value for from the get-go.
I like that.
Love it.
Don't look at anything else. I got to put that in the side chat there. That's great. We talk about that so much, guys. Focus, focus, focus. Do not get distracted by the shiny objects. Don't get distracted by the agent outreach. So do you guys know anybody who's doing agent outreach successfully?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a
Sean
friend who's
Castro.
killing it.
You know him, right?
Sean, I know Sean. How much is Sean averaging per deal that he does?
He made $250,000 last year.
His first year. Little 20-year-old prodigy.
He's 20 years old. He's insane.
Do you know what he's averaging per deal?
I think like 10,000.
$10,000 per deal. What is your average assignment right now in your pre-foreclosures?
I mean, we have 3 at
90.
90.
So 30,000. Well, we had 2 at 10 and then 1 at 70. And then our
and the
next one is
70
20.
we know is like not common.
Yeah, like we're not expecting that on a lot because it was just like the perfect situation where she had a lot of equity and has money coming in the future. So we didn't feel bad about like getting more, but like she gave us her number, but like in other situations, like it's all the money they're walking away with. And there's so many reverse mortgages in this area. And so it's like if you're 85 years old and you can't even make enough to pay your monthly expenses with your Social Security, like we don't feel good about like pushing you down, you know, like we would rather take a smaller amount so that you can have more to live off of the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So that's typically what we run into here is like not a lot of equity, not enough for us to be making a large chunk.
That particular comment and how you're thinking about that and taking care of them is why you'll be successful.
Thank you.
That exact thing right there, to where you're thinking about their long-term living conditions and not about your pockets. Because it's like maybe you only make 10 on a deal like that, not a huge deal, but they give you a Google review or they give you a video review, and then it leads to another $70K deal because someone saw that. But
Yeah.
you guys, you're never gonna lose when you treat people right. It makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
we
you were
wouldn't do
saying-
it any other way.
Yeah, what you were saying when like before we started talking before about like our whole mission, I mean, first of all, our whole mission is to help sellers, but like on the buyer side, like we want to change the way that people think about wholesalers, because right now when people hear wholesalers, like it's got this negative connotation to it that like we're doing something slimy, and like
Mhm.
we're very transparent with our buyers, and like if I can't run a deal well and I don't know what the ARV is, I'll be like, yo, you run this deal and tell me what you're going to pay for it. And like, I'll go get it. I'll go try to get it for you. But like, we really want to change the way that buyers and sellers look at wholesalers so that we're like a trusted partner. Like, you want me and I want to be in your life too. So
that's why we love learning from you guys, because we're on that same wavelength and we hear the way other people move and we're like, like, I couldn't do that every day and feel good about my life. I could not.
So I have two more things. One, I want to talk about, I want to rewind for a moment and talk about the agent outreach stuff, just for everybody to understand, because I feel like a majority of people are in here know about creative financing. Is Sean Castro doing creative financing with these agents? Is he taking over these properties subject to and wholesaling them?
Not as much. I think he's done a couple deals where he's like partnered with Kevin Cho on one that was creative, I think, where Kevin Cho dispoed it, but most of his deals are cash deals.
So I bring that up for everybody to understand this. When they're saying doing agent outreach, they're not doing no equity, expired listings. Sean is going after these. He's making relationships with agents and he's finding those off-market pocket listings that smell like cat pee that are in really bad shape. So he's selling the really crusty houses to fix and flippers. He's not taking them over when there's no equity. And I say that to say this: please do not get distracted by shiny objects of people saying, I can make so much money on this. Like, this is something I'm hearing often. People are doing the creative aspect of finding the deals with no equity or there's no cash flow as a rental. And they're trying to move these deals and they're walking with $300, $500. So is the juice worth the squeeze? That's what I was trying to get at earlier when Kaylee and Monica had other people saying, do the agent outreach. You've got to understand the difference. Sean is going for direct to agents, building relationships with agents. So they go find all the deals for him and he's wholesaling them to an end buyer that's a fix and flipper and they're straight up cash. They are not creative. So I wanted to make sure everybody understood that while we were talking about it.
So real quick on that, that's definitely like he started, I feel like the beginning of last year, he was doing like stuff that was on the market still and sometimes getting them way below what the list price was. But now it is a lot of pocket listings. So stuff that's not going on the market, but it's coming through an agent. So that way it's more like buyers are more interested in it because it's not something that they're seeing on the MLS, even though it came through an agent.
And that's a lot of relationship, like what we
100% relationship building. Yeah.
It's really important to understand the difference of that for all of you. So I just want you to know where you can find these deals. It's wholesale. At the end of the day, you're going to get larger assignment fees for finding those big problems. Now, I'm not saying there's not deals to be made with no equity and stuff. They're just harder. In my opinion, my personal opinion, just a lowly ginger that doesn't know much, it's not worth the squeeze. I don't want to do that. I'd rather wholesale this thing for cash and be done. Now, another thing I want to say, because it's 12:46 really quick, and I'm going to hand it over to Michael here and let him ask you guys some questions because I've been jumping in here. We do this every Thursday at 12 o'clock. Every Thursday at 12 o'clock, you guys can jump in. I know Kaylee and Monica come all the time. You guys message us on Instagram. We text each other. Find somebody who knows what they're doing and has been doing it for a long time and is a multimillionaire. Okay, I'm pointing.
He's not even
them.
looking at you.
Yeah, this is the guy. Okay, rip off and duplicate. He has all of the secrets. He has all of the sauce. Lead with value. Michael, you're dropping. What's happening in Q2?
So I wouldn't worry about the mentorship. There's enough on my content on YouTube and Instagram to start a 6-figure a month business. It really can happen. And even if you're not at that point, maybe you have a W-2 and you're making 40 or 50 grand a year. Would it make a difference if you did 1 or 2 deals in a year and doubled your income? I think so. But there will be a mentorship where I teach this stuff ad nauseum. I'm also working on a data solution that could help a lot of people. I'm actually more excited about that right now than anything. So if you'd like all the data part of things systemized and automated for you, shoot me a DM. Happy to talk to you about it.
What should they say to you? Should DM you and say data?
Yeah, just DM me the word data and I'll know what you're talking about.
Boom. So
he doesn't have a bot.
That's okay, but then
I don't have a bot.
Easy to find.
I don't have a bot.
He's like,
I'm pretty personal.
let's go with data.
Whatever you want.
Sure. Data. Lead the way. I say all that because I want you guys, I'm excited for Michael to have the mentorship. I want things to be organized. But you don't have to have it all. We gave you a simple roadmap. You don't have to have a CRM. I know you guys mentioned Open Dispo. You use Open Dispo because that's the CRM that I use. I know Michael used Salesforce. It's really getting started, pen and paper, following up, leading with value, being empathetic, understanding that these people are going through a really tough situation, and just not quitting. And that will really help you win. But Michael, I want to give you the opportunity to ask them some questions now that we're running out of time.
I'm just excited that people are out there, they're doing this and having success. Guys, there's nothing that makes me more happy than hearing about your successes. So if you're having, if you got a deal from doing something like the niche list, send me a message. It brings me a lot of joy. But for you guys, we didn't really go through the details of your 70K deal,
Yeah.
how you found it, how you got in contact. It was the one with the heirs, yes?
No, so
No,
I'd
this
like
one's
to just know
different.
a little bit more about the details of that 70K deal in terms of
Yeah.
what was the marketing method that you found them, what value you provided, kind of the nature of the transaction.
sure.
We got you. So we were knocking one day at this property and knocked 3 times, didn't hear anything. It kind of looked like it could be
And
vacant.
it smelled really
It
bad.
smelled disgusting. So we were standing in the driveway and we were like,
What do
trying
we
to
do?
decide, like,
Mailbox, door.
should we go talk to the neighbor? As we're staying there, like, we've had issues in the past where people find out we talked to their neighbor and like got
They yelled
really
at
upset
us.
with us. So we decided like that's just not something that we're personally gonna do going forward. So we're like, all right, we're not gonna do that. Let's just go back to our car. And as we were walking away, she came out. Very defensive at first, like, how do you know about this? I have an attorney. I'm not selling my house, like all that. And we're like, okay, well, we're actually just here to like help you stay in the house if that's what you want.
We want to hear more about your situation.
Yeah. So we sat inside with her for a couple of hours and her house, like at this point, like HVAC doesn't work, hoarder house, broken windows. And she talked about wanting to move into like an independent living facility close by. But that one has a full list, like a 2-year wait list basically. And so we started at that point walking independent living homes with her. No contract, just trying to provide value.
Because her daughter lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't have anyone. She's elderly. She's had some health scares recently. And her daughter was like, you really shouldn't be by yourself, those kinds of things. And so we heard all of that. And we wanted to be the ones that she could trust and genuinely make her feel like someone was invested in her.
This was in October.
Yeah.
So
We need
From
to
October-
stop right here for a second. Guys, the average investor is going to door knock the house. They may have had a conversation. They would have wanted to talk to her about selling the house. She wouldn't have done anything with them because there was no trust. Guys, listen, they are walking this lady through assisted living communities. That is the level of service that's required. And they're helping this lady get to the next situation in her life, which she didn't have the resources to do. And they're going to be paid handsomely for that. This is the level of service that's required and what I want you guys to understand. So go ahead and continue. I'm excited.
Yeah, we do believe that is what set us apart, because she would almost even like brag, like, so many other people are coming to my house, I'm not even talking to them.
because she was, even though she would say I want to go to independent living facility, she would follow it up with
She'd
I don't want to sell my
ping pong.
house.
This is a big
Because-
decision.
She got divorced. She was abused when she was married, and so she fought tooth and nail for that house. So she had a lot of emotional attachment to that house. So we never were giving her an offer. Finally, she went to see her daughter in December for a couple of weeks when she came back from the holidays. We just stopped in to see how she was doing, and
Her daughter was like, I think it's time for you to move on to something else. And we had already been obviously talking to her about it, but there was never any like pressure. And we just kept listening to her. And I asked the question, like, do you feel like at this point that we understand your situation? And she was like, yeah, I do. I believe you understand. And that was when we started saying like, okay, well, what do you think you would like for the home if you were to sell it? And she gave us her number. There's foundational issues, which she brought up to us. Like, we honestly hadn't even seen them. And we were like, well, how much do you think that would affect the price? And
She'd already gotten quotes a while ago, so she gave us that number, and we're like, all right, with inflation, it's probably like a little bit more than that, which we truly believe. This wasn't us like trying to scam her.
Yeah, because she had gotten it like 10 years ago. So.
Yeah, she was like, it was 15,000 like a while ago. And we're like, all right, 20,000, let's say, like round up. And she was like, all right, so we're like, your price minus 20,000, or what other offers you've gotten minus 20,000 is 180. Is that fair for you? And she was like, yep, 180 is fair for me. Quick. And then she signed the contract at that. We like honestly weren't sure how much somebody would pay because of the foundation issue. So we were trying to be like, not have to go back later.
So I had put it on my Instagram at 2:30. We put it out to like our trusted buyers that we already knew as well. And all of them were interested. Like, yeah, we'd love to come walk it on Tuesday. That was the date that we had set for her. Cause you know, with someone who has such an emotional attachment, even though she's aware that her house is messy, like she doesn't want people to see it. So we had to be like, don't worry, it's just going to be our trusted people. And we'll do one day, like one day of people walking through.
And that's it.
And that's it. So
And we also learned from another seller that like we're never gonna have them in the house when we're doing the walkthrough. So we're like, all right, you have 1 hour, you're gonna leave for that hour, and we'll have people walk it at that point.
yeah. And so I had put it
Wise.
on my Instagram, just being like, hey, we're dispoing this at 2:30. Let us know if you're interested. And what the person who ended up being our buyer responded to me and said, I want the house. And I was like, that's wonderful. We're having a walkthrough on Tuesday. There's foundational issues. And she was like, yeah, no, I want it now. And I was like, no, you don't understand. There's a giant crack in the side of the house. Like, you really should walk it. It's a hoarder house. It's very, like, there's going to be extensive work needing to be done. We're going to have all of our people walk it on Tuesday, and then we'll take highest and best. And she's like, no, tell me what highest and best is, and I'll give it to you right now. And we're like,
I'm in like the middle of getting my flip ready to list, and so I'm like out in
I'm
the front of
annoying
my
the crap out of her.
I'm like in the front of my yard, like picking up randoms of pieces of shit that's been like coming from the construction, and she's calling me and she's like, what do I say? And I was like, in my head, I don't want our other buyers to now be like not able to get this deal. So I wanted the walkthrough to happen. So I was like, all right, tell her 250 and we're gonna make the post occupancy 3 months. So hopefully this like in my head, I'm like, this is a
Scare her
deal.
off.
She's gonna want to walk then. And she was like, all right, where do I send the
And
money
then we
to?
were like, we have to do a $10,000 non-refundable. Like we this lady is like skittish. So like $10,000 non-refundable. She's like, where do I send the money?
Yeah. And
I
at
was
this
like,
point,
What's happening right now? We're about to make $70,000. You know,
she's like freaking out, calling Sean, the wholesaler, and Sean and me are both like,
they're poo-pooing the
Stop.
whole thing.
stop being excited. Don't jinx anything yet.
And then once everything got signed and she put the deposit down and everything, I was going through our messages because it's great content. The level of which this woman was like, no, just, I trust you guys. Just give me the house. And I realized that instead of sending her the file for the photos, I sent her the entire file, which had our front side contract on it. So she knew we paid 180 for it and still overbid. Not overbid. The house is well worth 250. We put it in at a very good price at 230.
Yeah.
But she was fully aware of how much we were going to get paid.
When
and
she put her
still
money down and when
wanted
she
to pay
signed.
that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, the
remember when
best
we
buyers
bought the
are always going to
property.
be like that. Yeah. The best buyers will always be like that. They couldn't care less
Agreed.
how much you make.
Agreed.
As long as the deal works for them, they're thrilled. If you have buyers that balk at how much you make, I would move on.
Agreed. That's literally what
Yeah.
we just had to tell people because we did. We got a lot of people congratulating us on the deal.
We just posted because this 70,000 was the first amount of money in our shared LLC, which is the Girl Saving Homes. So we were super excited to that's our first payment is 70,000 together. So we
When did
posted it
that
on
close?
Instagram, and I was nervous because I was like, I want to do it with the story so that people understand that we weren't just taking advantage of anyone. But we had one person reach out to us and say a majority, just a heads up, not me, just a heads up, a majority of investors are gonna see that as a negative. And I just responded, I was like,
It's a limiting
you
belief.
care what I was like, that's a lack mindset, and I don't work with those types of buyers, so sorry.
Michael wanted to know, did you guys close this 2 weeks ago? When did you guys close this?
Mhm.
Mhm.
2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And we're still
Great
working on it.
story.
Like we're still getting her set up for the independent living. Like that's not done yet. So we still have been like,
The follow-up.
yeah, a lot of work to get her like fully transitioned over.
We're getting a dumpster brought to the house, like
Post-sale
setting up
stuff. So
removers, the whole thing, full service.
all the work in there. So Monica, when are you gonna buy an iPhone?
We're on my Android right now.
Oh
Oh
no
my
wonder it sounds
gosh,
funny.
man.
Everybody wants it. It's so funny because I just sit there like,
I like green in terms of money. I do not like green bubbles.
Ooh.
Burn.
she hates
Well-
iPhones though. Like people laugh at her and she's like, I don't
literally
care.
don't care.
She's like, nothing you can say hurts me.
Rolls right off.
And that's why you continued door knocking. So I guess keep the Android because you are not a quitter.
Not a quitter. And I
So-
have a tough skin. Y'all can talk all you want.
So, congratulations, ladies. I am so,
Thank
this
you.
has been really fun. This is the fun part about doing this on YouTube. We get to hear everybody's success stories. So, what is your goal for Q2 of 2024? What do you guys want to happen in this next season?
Yeah, our goal, I mean, like something that we talk about a lot is like we consistently want to be making 20,000 each a month, so 40,000 a month. That to us, we kind of go back and forth on the number of deals that's going to be. So like anywhere from 2 to 4, probably like around 3 deals a month. And then our goal is by the end of this year to start bringing, well, definitely in the next like 6 months, to start bringing people on to support us.
Create
So
a team.
yeah, like we want to get door knockers to be able to help us out, and then also like VAs to help us with our data, and our CRM.
Yeah, but they have to be like quality go-givers,
Yeah.
like the same mindset. We do not want anyone representing us that doesn't have that same like I'm here to serve. If you're not out here to serve and you just think it's going to be a quick buck, like you're probably not for us.
Yeah.
So, next follow up question to that.
In that vein of hiring, just like you guys have been relentless out there trying to get deals, you have to have your pipeline of talent be equivalent. So you have to be relentless to find the right people because your business is your people. And you already have an idea of what type of people you want. So do not settle on people just because they raise their hand and want to join. Just like you didn't
Yeah.
give up on door knocking, you got to keep going until you find the right people, and then you'll be making a lot more than 20 a month. I can tell you that.
Let's go.
Yeah, we got, that's for us specifically. So in my head, I'm like, I want more. And like our goal, like super long term, is to be able to create a nonprofit that we can leverage to do all of the work that like the loan
Beautiful.
modification and the like assisting them with that stuff, like all the things that aren't money making but are really important. Like we would like that in house to be able to kind of like have a team specifically for that.
Love that.
And this is just a nugget for everybody. Do not forget, it all comes back down to your customer, to the homeowner. So if you focus on serving them well and you focus on what their problem is, you're always going to win. Now, ladies, follow-up question to that. What does a day look like for you? If I'm asking you, you guys wake up, what does a day look like? Because I know you do some fix and flips, Kaylee, on your own. This is just for your LLC. Like, what does a day look like for you guys?
We have a pretty solid like morning routine. So like meditation, I walk in nature,
Gratitude.
I write down, I usually do it the night before, like what my day is going to look like. I review that. Kaylee will pull our data, get our list ready, and then we kind of make a plan for what part of Pinellas County we're going to hit. We pack our little lunches and snacks and we hit the road.
Oh, see, that Android kicked you off.
Android,
Oh my God.
man.
Jeez, got off stage there. All right. So you do your morning routine. What time, like you hit the road immediately? Are you pulling data first thing in the morning and then you're hitting the road? Do you pull sporadically?
No, I try to pull data at nighttime so that I can have the list ready to go the day before so that she can print it. And then typically like our best time I think is when we're door knocking from like 2 to 6. But with the daylight savings, we got pushed back and we started doing it like noon to 4, noon to 5. But our goal in the next like couple of weeks is to get as far in the day as possible because it's definitely like the hit rate is so much higher
Agreed.
Yeah, so then we end up spending like our daytime doing CRM, responding to text messages, stuff like that, so that we can door knock in the evening.
Yeah, we check everyone's file to make sure we have the most up to
Accurate
date.
data. I'd agree. I have the same results. People are asking, what's the perfect time to door knock? Michael's already answered this. There is no perfect time. I went to a gentleman's house who worked at FedEx at night, and I was at his house at 5:30 in the morning one day, walking him through everything. And then at 8 a.m. we called the bank together. So everybody's different. There is no perfect recipe, but I will say, same token, I have a higher hit rate if I'm going in the evening or in the afternoon when people are getting home from work and things like that. So just for everybody to have that. Okay, so are you guys on the same ish KPIs as Michael? Are you guys getting out 50 calls with follow-up new leads every day? Are you hitting 15 doors a day on average?
15 doors. That is usually our target is 15 doors every day that we go out. And then with the CRM texting for us, we're usually
We haven't gotten our KPI tracker set up well enough yet to know how many texts are going out.
Rick is working on it.
Yeah, Rick is working on it. And then our phone calls are like 0. We don't make any phone calls unless we don't make any cold call phone calls, and like we only are following up with people that are already in our pipeline.
I love
We
that.
could definitely be better
We-
at that.
I honestly would say even no though, because we tried calling people and we got to a point where like our mindset was so bad, like we weren't doing the tasks that we wanted to do because we would sit on the phone for hours and hit like
Wrong
one person out of
numbers.
40, and we were like, why don't we just go door knock more? Like that's when at one point we were door knocking 6
Sure.
days a week. So for us, like we would rather door knock than call, and that's the sacrifice that we make is door knock more.
It's paying off though, right?
Okay. The good thing is there's so many ways to skin the cat on this. It's not like you have to cold call or you have to send texts. Some people have a passion for door knocking, and it's like they just want to get out there and connect and be with people, and they do better with that. They get burnt out on the phones. So don't feel like you have to do, something that I suggest. If you're out there and you enjoy door knocking, do that exclusively. You get really good at it. And when you get good at something, you get more results. So it's good.
It's true.
Ladies, freaking proud of you. Way to go.
Thanks.
I want you
Thank
to look at
you.
your hand
I
really quickly. Put
appreciate
it in
that.
front of you.
Yeah, thanks to the both of you. Like we honestly use your name so much, both of you, for like when people ask us what we should do, we're like, just go look at their content. Good stuff.
Good. I'm really glad. Michael, anything you want to ask them before we let them get back to their projects and we can get to the questions in the side chat?
No, get out there and door knock some more. I want to hear some more deals that you get. So.
Definitely will.
Yeah,
Tell
we'll
us all
talk to you
about
guys soon.
Thanks, ladies. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So I wanted to get, because poor Charlie over here is like, guys, are my questions going through? Are you seeing what I'm saying? So I want to make sure we get to the questions that are in the side chat. We are over on time. And I know Michael has a lot going on, and I have a few other things I need to follow up with my team on. So I want to get to this question. Charlie said this: I hit 108 doors in January. Oftentimes I'm late and they're already under contract. Had roughly 15 people give me their mortgage statements and ask for help, but the debt was too high. Any tips? Well, if you go back to some of our earlier videos, one of the first things that we do is speed to lead. You heard Kaylee and Monica. They pull the data the night before, they hit it the next day. Get to your data faster. It's definitely going to help you. Now, I'm going to keep it up there. If you pay attention to what Michael said, most of the contracts do happen closer to the auction date because people go through it. But if you're building that pipeline up and you're planting those seeds, the closer to the auction date, they're going to listen to you more because you've been leading with value. So that's a really big help for us. But Michael, what would you say for the tips when the debt is too high? What would your exit strategy be?
Well, first off, you're saying that the debt is too high, but you're saying that they're already under contract as well. So what I'm seeing is that your data source is not reliable, or the data source is really dated. So if you're pulling something from a prop stream or a property radar or foreclosures daily or whatever source it is out there, I'm guessing that by the time you're getting it, the situation's already resolved. So Charlie, can you tell us where you're getting your information from?
You know what I'm going to do
Please.
really quickly is I'm going to invite you up on stage, Charlie. I'm going to throw the link in the side chat so you can jump into StreamYard on the back end with us, and you can tell us about this really quickly. So Charlie, if you see that, you're going to have to leave YouTube and you can jump up on stage so we don't have to wait for your reply. That happened to us last week. We're like, where is the reply? Somebody messaged me on Instagram. But I love all of the comments while we're waiting for Charlie to jump up here. What a story. Love it all. Congrats to you both talking to Kaylee and Monica. Charlie even said super impressed with these girls. Big congrats to them. Guys, it really does just come back down to doing it. And then I see you here, Christy. Christy said, I would not feel confident at door knocking. I texted Michael. I was like, what do you say when you door knock? I'm scared. I still get nervous when I go door knocking. I don't like rejection. It's never fun getting yelled at. But when you believe that it's a higher purpose of helping somebody stop a foreclosure going onto their record, and you're going to help the family get a fresh start, it makes life a little bit easier. So you still get a little bit nervous, I'm sure, when you door knock, right, Michael?
Yeah. I mean, just because I've done hundreds and hundreds of these deals doesn't mean in that YouTube video where that guy or that lady's kind of going after me that I'm not like a little bit. But I know just from a body of work that it's going to work out. I'm going to get a deal, and you just got to keep going. So it doesn't ever go away. You just get more confident and more skilled to where you can handle more and more situations. So there's not as much fear involved.
It's all repetition. The more you do something, the better you're going to get. You were not a master at riding a bike at the beginning. You had to use some training wheels. Then you had to get off the training wheels. I remember when I first learned to ride a bike, my dad let me go. For some reason, I was so focused on balancing, I forgot to use my brakes. So it took me a while to relearn how to ride a bike and use my brakes. So you just have to understand you're not going to be good at first, guys. We're all going to stink. We're going to stink really bad. But if you stink really bad, you can get better, and it just takes time. Michael, you have something you were going to say? No?
Oh, I was just kind of trying to go back to Charlie's thing. It seems like he's probably gone. But there's really conflicting things in here that they're already under contract. But it sounds like you're having, out of 108 doors, 15 people are having high leverage conversations with you and giving their mortgage statements. We would really need to dig into, 1, your data source, 2, your sales process. There's something missing here, because having 15 good conversations with someone out of 108 doors is really good. So I just want to check your numbers, 1, check your data, 2, and your sales process, 3rd.
He's still here. He said he can't get on the link. So Charlie, if you can hear me, just make sure you copy and paste that link into a new window. You will have to close
Charlie,
the YouTube.
I've got to run here in a couple of minutes, but let's try to get him up next week.
Yeah,
if we can.
We'll do this.
That'd be a
Yeah,
good
let's do this.
conversation.
We'll bring you up here, Charlie, and you can message me on Instagram. I'll give you some voice memos that I can. But every Thursday, guys, 12 o'clock Arizona time, we are on here. We want to make sure that we can help you guys out. We'll pull you up. We've done role plays. We've walked through a lot of this. We've done the KPIs. Go back and watch the recordings. And please, 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 we do this for free. We're taking time out of our business. Share this video. Share this video with somebody. Like this video. If you could add some comments below, that'd be great. We got to get out of here. We got to go do some money-making activities. Charlie, message me on Instagram. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. I hope you feel better. Way to go, Chiefs. Super Bowl champs. Fun time.
Right.
We'll see you later. Michael, you're going to be live on Instagram on Saturday morning answering questions?
Yeah, feel free to come shoot me a message anytime on Saturday, and we're here on Thursdays.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Have a good one.